The Yankees season has been anything but smooth. Between injuries, inconsistency, and the constant pressure to contend at the top, the front office is once again about to shake the board. Two major moves are on the table, and both could redefine the team's direction in the coming weeks. One involves a familiar face, and the other a strategic adjustment that could make all the difference down the stretch. If you're a Yankees fan or just love the high-stakes drama of MLB trade season, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. Today's analysis is going to spark debate. Move number one. What if the Yankees' future is about to be traded before it even begins? That's the question haunting the Bronx right now. Because the hottest name in the Yankees' internal discussions is not a proven star or an injured player making a comeback. It's a kid who's never played in MLB, but could be the key to an immediate return to the World Series. Spencer Jones, the Yankees' top prospect, the crown jewel of the farm system, might be packing his bags. Against his will, against the fans' wishes, and perhaps against the franchise's own future. But why? This is where the story gets complicated. Because not everything is about performance. Not everything is about loyalty. And not everything is fair. This is a story of a young man who has already shown enough to deserve the Bronx, but might be used as currency to save a season slipping through their fingers. If you love the Yankees, or simply follow the drama of MLB's July market, get ready. This could be the most impactful decision since Gleyber Torres, Aaron Judge, or even Aaron Hicks. And before we go on, don't forget to like and subscribe. We don't just deliver shallow headlines. We take you inside the war room, where trades aren't just numbers. They're bets on the future, internal battles, human stories. Don't miss a thing. Come with us. Let's go back to 2022. MLB Draft. The Yankees select in the first round a left-handed outfielder with absurd physical tools. A powerful swing, a 6 feet 7 inches frame, speed, strength, and a ceiling many compared to Aaron Judge. The name? Spencer Jones. Since then, he's done nothing but produce. In 2025, after being promoted to the Scranton/Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders in AAA, he absolutely destroyed the ball. A .426 average, .481 OBP, .941 SLG, and 10 home runs in just 16 games. Across AA and AAA this season, he's hitting .317/.415/.691. Numbers that border on unbelievable. But, and there's always a but, the stat that raises concerns between the lines. Spencer Jones swings and misses 37.6% of the time. That's high. Very high, and some believe it could be fatal once he reaches the MLB, where pitchers don't forgive hesitation. This is where opinions start to split. On one side, fans dreaming of the next Judge. On the other, analysts fearing he may never reach the level the Yankees need right now. But while the backstage was intensifies, Jones keeps playing, keeps improving, and most impressively, keeps showing maturity. In a recent interview with Chris Kirshner of The Athletic, Jones spoke candidly about his moment, and his words left no room for doubt. I want to play in New York. Be part of this organization. Stay loyal to it. That's a big part of who I am and where I want to go in my career. That kind of statement hits deep, especially in a sport where the word loyalty has become increasingly rare. But he goes further, says he isn't shaken by the rumors, that he even enjoys the creativity of the fans. And still, everyone knows his future is not in his hands. Because while Jones talks about the future, the Yankees are focused on the now. And the now is screaming for reinforcements. The team needs a third baseman with power. Eugenio Suarez of the Arizona Diamondbacks is a strong option. At the same time, the mound needs help. Mitch Keller of the Pittsburgh Pirates is also on the radar, but neither of them will come cheap. That's when Spencer Jones's name starts circulating more heavily around the league. To many executives, he's a tempting target. Cheap, young, high ceiling, and already close to MLB ready. And to the Yankees, he's a trade chip too valuable to ignore. But the dilemma runs deep. What if Jones is traded and breaks out with another franchise? What if he becomes an all-star in Seattle or an MVP in Pittsburgh? How will the Yankees live with that decision for the next 10 years? Chris Kirschner put plainly, if the Yankees trade Spencer Jones and he becomes who many believe he will be, the team may never recover. And that's not just emotional overreaction. It's a warning. Just look at past mistakes. Players dealt too soon. Prospects sacrificed for veterans who failed. The fans remember. The front office feels it. And reporters are already speculating about what might unfold. Behind the scenes in the Bronx, the mood is one of urgency. Not desperation. Not yet. But urgency. The franchise doesn't want to waste Garrett Cole's prime. Aaron Judge's window won't last forever. Time is ticking, and the AL is more competitive than ever. Standing still is risky, but making the wrong move could be fatal. That's why the pressure is growing, and decisions must be surgical. Spencer Jones is at the center of it all. He didn't ask to be traded. Quite the opposite. He declared his love for the pinstripes. But ironically, that love might be what makes him most valuable in the trade market. And now the question is for you. You, Yankees fan. Would you keep Spencer Jones, betting that he'll become the next Bronx legend? Or would you trade him now, chasing a real shot at the title this year? Comment down below. We want to hear your opinion. Because this isn't just about a trade. It's about identity. About vision for the future. Move number 2. Do you feel it? It's like a storm forming on the horizon. A silence before the explosion. In the Bronx, whispers have already turned into noise. And now, only one question remains. Who will still be standing when the deadline arrives? The rumors don't lie. The New York Yankees are about to act. And act on a massive scale. Reliable sources indicate that between 3 and 6 players are expected to join the roster before the end of the month. Heavy reinforcements, ambitious trades, a coordinated move to transform the team from top to bottom. But if there's one thing every Yankees fan has learned over the decades, it's that everything comes at a price. And this time, the cost will come from within. Players will be cut, roster spots will be freed up, and names that once wore the uniform with pride will quite simply vanish from the 40-man roster. Maybe you already have your guesses. Maybe you've mentally said goodbye to a few names. But when the purge really begins, everything hurts a little more. And that's what this video is about. The pain, the cuts, the decisions that reshape a roster, and maybe define the season. But before we dive into this list of likely exits, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Here, we follow every rumor, every whisper, every name quietly crossed off the roster. Be part of the hottest MLB community on YouTube. And now, more than ever, you need to be with us because the storm is coming and there's no escaping it. The gears are already turning. The team knows what it wants. Negotiations are progressing with teams like the Arizona Diamondbacks and Pittsburgh Pirates. And there's a real chance that players like Eugenio Suarez and Mitch Keller will be wearing pinstripes before August. And that's when the unforgiving math of Major League Baseball kicks in. For every addition, there's a subtraction. And that's the unglamorous side of trading. Because behind every celebrated arrival, there's a silent and often painful departure. The name Brent Hedrick is perhaps the first to pop up on any DFA spreadsheet. A lefty, serviceable. One of those AAA arms who fills a gap with stats that might seem acceptable during calm times. But these aren't calm times. Before the injury that sidelined him for a month, Hedrick had a 4.11 ERA in AAA and 4.73 in MLB. His whip, a troubling 1.57. Numbers that scream mediocrity. And worse, He's occupying a spot that could belong to someone capable of impacting games in October. Hedrick is a type of name that only survives on an elite roster through inertia. And inertia right now is over. Next comes Braden Shoemake. A safe bet, a backup plan put in place by the front office in case injuries ravage the infield. But the injuries never came. And even if they had, Shoemake never proved ready to handle it. With 46 games in AAA and nothing to show at the plate or in the field, Shoemake is now redundant, especially with Jorbert Vivas being tested more frequently, and the Yankees actively seeking a starting third baseman. Shoemake has become an accessory, and nobody fights to keep an accessory when reinforcements are incoming. Now, things get more emotional, because the name Scott Effross doesn't just represent a functional cut, it represents a fail bet. Effross arrived in 2022 in a trade that involved Hayden Wesneski. The idea was clear, bring in a reliable middle reliever, but what the Yankees got was a string of injuries, poor performance, and usage in irrelevant situations. In AAA, his ERA ballooned to 7.71 before he was recalled to the majors, where in 8 recent games he's posted a 4.70. Not catastrophic, but entirely expendable. Effross is one of those names that, if cut today, would barely cause a ripple, even in the Bronx. Maybe not even there. The worst part? The Yankees could have let him recover in peace. But by insisting on his return, they only confirmed what was already clear. His spot no longer exists. And then comes a cut that feels more like a transition. JC Escarra, a name that hasn't always been on the fans' radar, but has had internal value. Escarra had a good stretch, delivered some consistency, but the harsh reality is this. Since early July, just 12 hits. The Yankees' decision was clear. Escarra is being phased out to make room for Ben Rice, who is heating up and needs regular reps. At the same time, Austin Wells also needs more playing time. In other words, Escarra is now off the board. And interestingly, he might still hold some value. Rumors suggest there's trade interest in him. If the Yankees can flip him for a bullpen piece, it would be a silent miracle, one last contribution to the franchise, even on the way out. Now comes the open wound, Everson Pereira. Pereira is the type of player who excites early in his career, gets some MLB reps, disappears, comes back with strong AAA numbers, but never sticks. Today, he's 24 years old, a .882 OPS in 63 games for Scranton/Wilkes-Barre. He's hit 18 home runs. But even that is not enough, because the Yankees outfield is absolutely clogged. Judge, Soto, Verdugo, and now, the most promising name in the system, Spencer Jones, who has clearly surpassed Pereira. The future no longer belongs to him, not in the Bronx, and his exit is inevitable. If it comes via trade, great, but most likely Pereira will simply fade away and be left behind. And finally, Oswald Peraza. This one hurts, because Peraza was once seen as the shortstop of the future, a raw gem, a rare defensive talent with promising offensive upside. But then came Anthony Volpe, shining on his own, and the original plan was shelved. Peraza became a backup, a bench piece, a shadow. In 66 games this year, he's hitting .147, OPS of .450, and OPS plus of 26. For reference, 100 is league average. 26 is a canyon. Defensively, he still offered some value, especially at third base. But even that started to slip, errors crept in, and now, even Jorbert Vivas seems more reliable. The brutal truth, Peraza didn't just fail to seize his opportunities, he validated the Yankees' choice to pass him over for Volpe. Worse still, he has no trade value, which means the only way out is a classic clean DFA. A cold cut, a silent end, to a promise that never was. And what does all this mean? It means the Yankees are finally doing what they've avoided for years, facing reality head on. They know they need help. They know the current roster can't win in October. And they know there's no more room for experiments, patience, or attempts to revive careers. This is a race against time, against pressure, against a recent history of failure. If Eugenio Suarez arrives, he needs to play now. If Mitch Keller comes, he needs to dominate now. And for that, old names will have to go. So now it's your turn, fan. Of the 6 names we analyzed, Brent Hedrick, Braden Shoemake, Scott Effross, JC Escarra, Everson Pereira, and Oswald Peraza, who would you keep? Who would you cut without hesitation? Would you trade them all for upgrades right now, even if it costs young talent? Or would you hold on to a few, believing there's still untapped potential? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a time to debate, to argue, and to help build the Bronx's future together. And stay alert, because if these cuts happen, the next move will be devastating. The partial rebuild could become a full-blown overhaul. And if you want to be here when it happens, and it will happen, don't forget to like, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel. Because the next chapter in this story is about to explode. The Bronx is boiling. And when the clock hits 0 on July 31st, there won't be room for regret. Only for those who are ready to stay or to go.